Good evening and welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Friday, November 27th, 2015. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. The U.S. Department of State applauds the November 20th signing of the Power Purchase Agreement between the consortium Nevis Renewable Energy International (NREI) and the Nevis Electricity Company to develop geothermal resources. That is according to a press release issued Wednesday, November 25th. It states that this project not only has the potential to provide sustainable renewable power to the entire country, but also may lead to the first inter-island electrical interconnection in the Caribbean. Over the past 2 years, the Department of State's Bureau of Energy Resources has provided technical assistance to the Nevis Island Administration and the Nevis Electricity Company that has ultimately resulted in the signing of the Power Purchase Agreement. The release also notes that the U.S. government, through its Caribbean Energy Security Initiative, aims to accelerate the diversification of Caribbean energy systems through support for improved governance, increased access to finance, and enhanced donor coordination. The signing of the Power Purchase Agreement is an important step towards Caribbean energy sustainability and security through the diversification of resources, the release states. The Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, is pleased with what he says is significant progress of the construction of the new veterinary clinic at Prospect. The project commenced about 6 months ago.
So far we have had steady progress and good progress as well too. In conversations with the contractor, he's pleased with the progress he's making with the development so far, or the construction so far. Today we can look at what has happened since our last visit, and we can see that we have constructed a roof on the far portion of this building so far. It's a wooden roof, galvanized finish, and they're now doing the upstairs of the middle portion of this building. So by next week, we should have that area covered as well too.
As part of the project, there are also plans to have rehabilitation work done on the existing vet clinic, which was constructed some 40 years ago.
On the far end, or the old existing building, as you realize, no work has been done on that as yet. But what I can say is that the whole idea is to move the workers, the entire operation, over to the new section once this is completed early next year. Then we'll tackle that phase. What would be involved there is the removal of those old aluminum windows, the removal of the roof. It would be a galvanized finish as well too. Power wash and repaint that section as well to have a complete finish when it's all said and done. So that is why you would see that that portion is not yet touched, but that will be done early next year. This is a development that was in the making for many years, and we're happy that we're able to take on this project and bring it to a reality.
Minister Jeffers is also the chairman of the Nevis Housing and Land Development Corporation, which is managing the project. He says the corporation is happy to take it on as it will benefit the local pet and livestock owners.
If one were to know the history behind the old small building that still exists there, that was constructed almost 40 years ago. And as such, you know that we have had some improvement in our management of livestock here in the island of Nevis, with improvement and growth and persons who would have developed a major love for their pets and so forth. Of course, you have to get the necessary infrastructure to support that particular industry or that particular love. And we have decided to take on this project so that we can provide the amenities and the services that our pet lovers and our livestock owners here on the island of Nevis, and also by extension the livestock that we ourselves from the Department of Agriculture manage on a daily basis.
Meanwhile, Minister Jeffers used the opportunity to announce that the plans for the expansion of the Department of Agriculture's abattoir have also been approved.
We're going to expand it to house a processing area and also storage and additional facilities, which would be done on the eastern end of the building. So when it's all said and done, you would see what I would think is an improved situation here at the abattoir, which continue to grow leaps and bounds. We'll have that groundbreaking done in January, and we'll be back to report that. But we're hoping that will be completed in a few months thereafter, so that the services can be utilized and we can provide the necessary space and storage for the abattoir, which is a signature statement for us at the Department of Agriculture.
Minister of Agriculture, the Honorable Alexis Jeffers. A press release from the Ministry of Health in the Nevis Island Administration notes that the Ministry of Health is pleased to announce its participation in the training course titled Training in Health Policy and Community Health Services for Medical Directors, Head Nurses and Administrators from the Small Island Developing States. The November 23rd to 27th course was held in Singapore. Ermin Jeffers, Acting Coordinator of Community Nursing Services, attended the training exercise, which was sponsored jointly by the governments of Singapore and Israel. Since 1992, the Singapore Cooperation Program has provided technical assistance to more than 100,000 officials from 170 countries. The Nevis Island Administration welcomes this opportunity, which will facilitate capacity building in the field of public health, which is one of the most critical departments in the Ministry of Health. Still to come,
I hope that one of the first things we'll be able to do, maybe when the island is full around Thanksgiving, is to present the film to a large audience in Nevis for the first time.
The details after this break.
Get this, man! Are you ready? I got the spirit of a fighter. Never ever quit. I got future to be brighter. Tired of this.
This is my story, real get a story. Hey, I remember those days when hell was my home, when me and mama bed was a big piece of foam.
Hey, you know it's your groovy soca monarch king, your boy Speedy, and I'm here with the Inland Revenue Department, and I love my side dish. And guess what? I also love Nevis too. And as a responsible taxpayer, your tax dollars help to build our nation. So I'm here to tell you, pay your taxes on time and be a responsible citizen. And don't get me wrong, it's a serious song. I pay my taxes. Boom!
Welcome back. On Wednesday, November 25th, the Ministry of Tourism held a press conference with the film crew of the docu-film Rivers of Time. Here's Communications Officer Sheila James with more on that story in the Ministry of Tourism's news in 60 seconds.
Helen Kidd, Production Manager, Robin Baxter, Director of New Wave Pictures, and Dr. June Goodfield, author of the book of Rivers of Time. Members of the media houses were in attendance. Dr. June Goodfield is no stranger to the island of Nevis. Her first visit was in 1965 and has since returned to the island every year. During her visits to Nevis, her curiosity was drawn to a story of a young woman named Philippa Dason Prentice. Her tenacious ability to sort information led her to write the book Rivers of Time. Helen Kidd echoed the work of Dr. Goodfield and praised the government and the people of Nevis for their full cooperation in the making of the docu-film. Film director Robin Baxter also expressed his wonderment of the island of Nevis and its people and was impressed with the island's way of life. He sensed the production will give an insight to many as he's keen to complete production in the UK by 2016.
Dr. June Goodfield, author of Rivers of Time and one of the film's main characters, says the crew has had huge amounts of help during the making of the film.
In this particular context, I want to pay great tribute to the late Vince Hubbard and the late Brian Littlewood. They were hugely helpful to me and devoted to the work that I was doing. And one of the legacies of this is going to be that Brian, who has sadly died, has left me a great deal of his archives, and I'm going to get them digitized, put all together and presented to the archived to the Alexander Museum.
According to Helen Kidd, during the 2 weeks of filming on the island, the crew interviewed a number of Nevisians who helped the story along.
People like Spencer Howell, people like Jan Hull, Marvin Chapman, as Dr. Goodfield was talking about, and of course the politicians, but also Hansel Manners, whom we filmed over at Cottle Church. So that link was terribly important, and I think more importantly, the help, the advice and the generosity of the people who were willing to be interviewed.
The film's director Robin Baxter notes that one of the main characters of the historical but contemporary film is the people of Nevis.
Because it shouts loud and clear through the film. We speak to Nevisians, we speak to many people who are living, working, political leaders, leaders of government, people who are sculptors, people who are working the land, working in hotels, doing different things. And they gave us their opinion of what we were doing. And so the island speaks clearly through its people, but it also speaks very clearly through its natural beauty. And we've been absolutely blessed with beautiful weather, and we've been able to visit some absolutely gorgeous places. This is my first visit to Nevis. I've visited many islands in the Caribbean, and everybody always said, oh, you must go to Nevis. It's beautiful, it's green, it's welcoming, it's got lovely historical traditions. And you think, yes, you're probably saying that, it's probably not going to be a disappointment. Well, it hasn't. It's been fabulous. So anybody who will see this film, they will get to realise that Nevis is a really beautiful place.
According to Baxter, copies of the film will be made available for viewing in Nevis.
We will definitely make it available on DVD for people to have, because we've already been asked by a number of places on the island, will we be able to show this film, will we be able to sell copies of it to people who come here who might not have got it. We'll sell it probably with a copy of the book as well, and we're also pledged to come back to the island and have a screening where we hope we'll be able to invite everybody who's helped in some way.
Dr. Goodfield plans to return to the island in November 2016, at which time she hopes the film can be viewed by audiences in Nevis for the first time. The island's official Christmas tree lighting ceremony is scheduled to take place on Wednesday, December 2nd at the War Memorial in Charlestown. The annual ceremony is coordinated by the Department of Community Development, of which Janet Maloney is the director.
It's slated for the 2nd of December, the first Wednesday in December, at the Independence or Memorial Square, starting at 6:30 p.m. And we already have plans. We're already looking at persons to perform at the local Christmas tree lighting, and then from there we'll kick off the other community lightings.
Maloney also outlined some of the acts scheduled to perform at the Christmas tree lighting ceremony.
We have some new groups that have come on board, like the Men Wellness Club, who hope will be delivering an item. We have the Enough Things Boys Club. We are trying to see other persons in the community that you may not necessarily see every day, but there should be some surprises.
She also encourages persons to support the event.
The 2nd of December at 6:30 p.m. sharp.
Director of the Department of Community Development, Janet Maloney. That's it for this evening's edition of the Nevis Newscast. Thank you for viewing. I'm Donis Wilkinson Keynes. Good night.